Good day, travel blog buddies. This is Nick, and I've got a special show for you today. My buddy John, I call a Disney addict, is here to talk to us today. And we're trying to do this over Instant Messenger too, so hopefully it sounds good for everyone. So I want to introduce my friend buddy John. He lives halfway to Omaha in Iowa, in the middle of nowhere, and he's a Disney fanatic. So John, tell us how you got interested in Disney.
My family took our first Disney vacation in 2002. My mom decided to take my entire family. We've been talking about things we could do all together as a family for a long time, and kind of plugged the idea in our head a long time ago, even before then, of going on a vacation to Disney, that kind of stuff. So she took 13 of us on a Disney vacation for 8 days, where we did the entire Disney park. We did SeaWorld and Universal Studios back in 2002.
So how many times have you been to Disney?
I've been to Disney World 4, maybe 5 times, and Disneyland twice.
And why do you still get excited about going to Disney after being there 5 times?
Well, you know, it's kind of like, Disney for me is I could point to a lot of times in my life that have been really the bad times in my life, but really those first 8 days of going to Disney ever were some of the best and most happiest days of my life. And I love the fact that when you go there, you are taken away from the real world, and you're transported back into a time when, you know, it's all about family, and you know, for the most part, everybody gets along, and everybody just talks, and you know, you're standing in line for 30 minutes, but if you're an outgoing person, you're talking to people in line from all over the world sometimes, and you pass underneath the gates of Disney, and you're immediately transformed, and like the Orlando commercials talk about, you're basically a kid again, and it's just truly, truly one of the happiest places on earth.
That's fun. Tell us about your last trip. Your last trip was a couple weeks ago. You went with a friend out there, and tell us about what you did on your last trip.
I did. I went with my best friend Angie and her little girl Allie, who are 9. We stayed at the Port Orleans Riverside, which is the hotel I stayed at the first time I went there, and it's a beautiful hotel. A lot of little buildings, a lot of pools, very laid back, lots of trees and little walkways and such. We did pretty much everything. We stayed on Disney the entire 7 days we were there. We went to an animal safari in Animal Kingdom. We watched all the parades there. We basically did all the parks plus Typhoon Lagoon. And Typhoon Lagoon is one of the water parks. They have a wave pool and water slides, and you know, we went to that Magic Kingdom and we did everything. And we went in February, so the lines weren't that bad. The first couple days we were there, Mardi Gras was going on, so the lines were a little bit longer, but once beginning of the week, as we got there on a Saturday, once about Tuesday hit, there were rides like Space Mountain, which is one of the big rides at Magic Kingdom, that those guys got off the ride and immediately got back on it. You know, they would just continue on it. And it took them less amount of time to get on and off Space Mountain than it did me to go through the Transportation Authority.
Nice. So do you have any desire to go to like Euro Disney or the Disney that's in, I think, Hong Kong or Disneyland? Do you have any desire to go to those Disney parks too?
I think if I was in those parts of the world, I would definitely try to make it a point to go there just to see, because they really do cater it and tailor those parks to those environments, trying to draw on as many of those people. And, you know, the one thing that they did a couple years ago at the parks here and there, when they were celebrating, I'm trying to think if it was Walt 100th birthday or just A Million Dreams, they brought the biggest attractions from each park and rolled it out to the other parks. Like Disney Hollywood Studios in Florida has the Light Camera Action Stunt Spectacular, which is a show that originated in Paris. California, Soarin' over California is a ride that's hugely popular in the California park in Anaheim. So, you know, I would like to go see those places and see how different they are.
Got it. So you're obviously a Disney expert. So tell me, I've never been to Disney, and tell me and the other people who listen to or watch the blog, tell us what do you need to know about Disney to have a good time and make it a simple trip?
I think the first thing you need to do is you need to start at least 6 months in advance. I mean, you really need to look at your calendar and compare it against the Disney website. If you go to their calendar, it'll talk about when are busy times, when is the value season, when is the peak time. If you go during the off season, it's not necessarily always going to be the best weather, but you're going to get the best bang for your buck. You're going to get cheaper hotels, cheaper tickets, not as much line, and you're going to get to enjoy the park a lot more. And, you know, so that'd be my first advice, is to start 6 months out, compare your calendar against the calendar at Disney to kind of see what you want to do. The next thing is to have a budget in mind, and, you know, really know how much you want to spend on a hotel room and those kinds of things. I am a true believer in staying on the compound on a Disney property because the transportation to and from the airport is awesome. You can get back and forth to all the parks at Disney very easily. And if you want to leave Disney, it's easy to rent a car or town car or a bus pass from nearest transportation depending on where you're going. And then once you get all that set up and you've got your reservations and all those kinds of things, definitely Google Walt Disney World on the web, and you can get maps of all the parks that talk about all the rides, and really start sitting down with your family and seeing what you'd be excited to do, and look on the website and find out, since you're staying on the park, since you're staying on the Disney hotels, there are parks that are open before and parks that are open later just for you. So plan your week and say, okay, on this day we're going to go to this park, on this day we're going to go to this park, and stick to it, you know, and kind of know what your flow of the day is going. You know, and don't be afraid to deviate once you get into the park if there's long lines. The other thing is, when you go to the park, it's very well laid out the way Disney wants you to progress through the park to the right. If you go to the left in the morning, a lot of times you're missing the crowd, those kinds of things. So just have a plan when you get to the park, but also plan for quiet times in the middle of the afternoon when you want to go back and just lay out at the pool and relax. You know, if you're going to go when it's really hot outside in the middle of the summer, the middle of the day, it's so hot that you want to just go back and relax, but you really need to be able to be back in the parks at night for all the fireworks and the nighttime parades and that kind of stuff. So you need to pace yourself with your plans.
I've heard that when you go to Disney, it's a good idea, especially if you're going to buy souvenirs, to actually go to like a Target or a discount store to buy the souvenirs before you get there, because they're super expensive in the parks. Would that be a way for families that have kids to save some money?
I definitely think so. I think that what you're buying in the discount stores is pretty much the same thing. There is some value to saying I brought this home from Disney. So, you know, don't buy everything from there. You know, plan to at least bring home one thing for every kid, you know, or yourself or whatnot, so that you can at least say, I brought this home from Disney. You know, there's something special and magical about being able to say that.
Well, thank you very much, John, for joining us today. We are out of time, and I hope all of you who are planning a trip to Disney heed some of John's advice and have a great time.